Well, good morning, everyone. This is Kristen Burke. I am the National Marketing Coordinator here at Art Jetter and Company, and we have the privilege of having Morgan Hohbein from Assurity join us today to wrap up our series. We've done a webinar series really highlighting the first 4 webinars on the life portfolios and all the products which Assurity has to offer on the life side. So now we're going to close out this series with today's webinar focusing on the disability income. So if you happen to have questions, we will address questions at the end of the webinar. All the lines will remain muted. We will allow you to ask questions in the menu bar that's you can see in front of you that is attached to that GoToWebinar. Just simply type in your questions there, and then we can address it at the end. So at this time, I will turn it over to Morgan. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. And thanks for everyone for joining this morning. Like Kristen said, we're wrapping up our life series, but decided to kind of end it with disability. We are coming upon National Disability Awareness Month here in May, so kind of getting close. We're already halfway through March here, so we're going to be going through our full disability portfolio and really diving into more of those objections and how to turn those into opportunities, just because DI can be one of the tougher products to sell, so we want to make sure that you're talking to the right people and presenting it in the correct way. So like Kristen mentioned, my name is Morgan Hohbein. I'm Regional Sales Coordinator here at Assurity. So you might see or also talk with my partner, Paige Phelps. She's the Regional Sales Manager, and we work closely with Art Jetter. So a little bit about who Assurity is, just as a company real quick. We are a mutual insurance organization. We've been around for over 125 years now. So way back in the 1800s, the first policy we actually wrote was a disability policy. So we've been doing this for a while, and we really know our disability, and we do it really well. So we are rated A- with AM Best, and we're considered a one-stop shop because we have a full health and life portfolio with some annuities mixed in. So we got a little bit of everything, from simplified to full medical underwriting for all of those products as well. We are a certified B Corporation, so if you see our building or look on our website, you're going to see that's a huge focus for us. And we really are out in the community doing all we can to help both the community in Lincoln, Nebraska, and our environment as well by having a very green building. And we really like to take that and incorporate it into our business and just how we treat our policy holders, our agents, and all of that. So just a little bit about our agenda today. We're going to start out by talking about why our clients need and want DI. So might give you a few more ideas there and kind of drum up some people in your mind of who to talk to. The role of group DI and individual DI, one of the biggest objections that you're going to get is, I already have disability through my workplace. So we want to be able to talk to them about the differences between the group and the individual DI. And then also turning that objection into an opportunity, so how we can spin that. Now we're going to go through a few case studies, so I'll give you a couple different occupations to kind of use it as an example. Give you some other common objections. Unfortunately, with this product, there are a lot of objections because people aren't 100% sure what it is or why they need it. So we really want to make sure that that's very apparent. And then some prospecting tips and sales tools. And then we'll go in depth to the products as well and make sure you know what we have to offer in our portfolio, in our disability portfolio to be exact. So your clients need income protection. So a few really good stats here. 66% of private sector workers do not have access to group long-term disability coverage. So that could be small business owners or just someone that works at maybe like a startup company or something like that, and they don't have built-in benefits available to them, but they still need that disability coverage. So 66% people do not have even group coverage. 1 in 3 people worry about supporting themselves if they become disabled and aren't able to go to work, aren't receiving an income. So it is a big concern that people are thinking about. They may not be proactively doing anything about it, but they are thinking about it. And then 1 in 4 of today's 20-year-olds will suffer a disability during their career. So sometimes people will think, well, I'm so young, I don't need it, nothing's going to happen to me. But there are a lot more reasons why someone might become disabled than you would think, than just a regular work injury, something with your back, whatnot. There's all sorts of things that can cause a disability and cause someone to be out of work, and no age is excluded from this. So those are some big objections there that we see. So why don't people typically have it? 48% of consumers need disability insurance, only 20% have it. So I think the statistic there of them having 48% of them needing it, those are the people that are working full time. Maybe they are a single income earner, so they're not married, or they don't have those dual incomes to support themselves. So 48% of all consumers, not even just employees or workers, need disability insurance, and less than half have it. So huge opportunity there. So disability is the missing link. So people think insurance, they think life insurance, they think home insurance, protecting their property. Auto insurance is a big one. It's a must. It's something they have to have. Health insurance. But you cannot pay for all of those insurance premiums without your income. So that's one big thing to think about. Disability insurance helps them protect their income, which is actually their most valuable asset. Usually when you ask people what their most valuable asset is, they will list off things like their house. That's usually number one. Then they'll list off their car. Then they'll list off, health insurance or their health in general, because medical bills can be kind of staggering at times. But they'll forget kind of that income is at the base of that pyramid there. Income is how you pay for all of those things that are your greatest assets. So we want to make sure that that is protected, because without that, they are unable to get their auto, property, health, and life insurance. So we're wanting to take that objection and turn it into an opportunity. So I've showed you some objections already. One of the biggest ones is I have DI through work already. I don't need it. I already have DI, but they might not be quite sure what that all entails. They might not be sure how long that would protect them for, how much they're paying for it, what the benefit amount is, and if that is even going to meet their needs. So we want to make sure their needs are met. So you can ask them questions, like this. Do you have short-term or long-term DI coverage? The majority of the time, any group coverage through an employer is going to be a short-term policy. So is that short-term policy going to be enough for them if they have a disability? Is it only going to be a 30-day, 60-day, maybe even 6-month? Is that going to protect them long enough, protect them and their family long enough? So that's where they could look at kind of pairing it with a long-term DI or replacing it with a long-term DI policy. You'll also want to ask them, does their DI provide a benefit until you can return to work in your current occupation or any job? So that is where that on-off definition comes in, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, because that is something that's pretty special about Assurity's DI, because we do have a built-in on-off definition. So, but you want to see if their policy through work will cover them for their current occupation or for any occupation. Is their group coverage portable? So are they able to take it with them if they switch jobs, or do they just automatically lose it? With an individual policy, since it's not linked to their employer, they'd be able to take it with them anywhere. What percentage of your salary does your group DI replace? So typically when you're looking at individual disability, we cover 60% of that person's gross monthly income. So give or take, it can be higher, it can be lower, but typically you can expect about 60%. So you want to check what kind of benefit they're getting and how it compares to the monthly salary that they're making. And then are benefits from your group policy considered taxable income? And then do you count on bonuses to meet expenses? some important questions to ask there if they come back with that objection. Another thing we want to bring up on the agent side, why it's important or why you might want to think about selling DI or selling more DI. So the lack of competition, the ability to specialize. So there isn't a ton of competition out there when it comes to selling DI. It can be a tough product to sell, or most people think it is because they just look at all the different bells and whistles and the different benefit periods, elimination periods, and it seems like a lot, and they don't even want to get into that conversation. Plus, they think, oh, people are just going to turn me down because they have group disability insurance already. But because of that, and because you know how much they need it and how easy it is for them to get it, you are able to be a real specialist in that area. So there's not a lot of competition when it comes to selling disability. You'll ensure the completion of other financial objectives. So it kind of goes back to that circle. You'll want to make sure that they just have all of their bases covered for themselves and for their family. So they have life insurance, they have auto insurance, property, health, all of that. So they want to make sure that that income is covered as well, because remember, that is the one piece of the puzzle that is the most important, because without that, they're not going to be able to have any of that other coverage. It's also a door opener into sought after markets. So once you kind of open that door, get them that income protection, then you can look at selling them life insurance, property insurance, all of that. And then account retention as well. So with disability insurance, we actually pay lifetime renewals, so it's a constant income stream. So whereas with life insurance or whatnot, this really sticks, this business really sticks, especially since we pay those lifetime renewals. So keep that in mind as reasons to sell disability insurance or to maybe get out and sell more. So here's what our portfolio looks like. We have 4 different products in there that we're going to talk about today. We'll talk about the first 3 more than the fourth. The fourth we'll just touch on briefly. We have the Century Plus Disability Income, and that is our fully underwritten product. Our Simplified Disability Income product, a business overhead expense, so think of any business owners you got out there, and then a graded benefit, so that one is for our impaired risk clients. So if someone is denied for Century Plus or Simplified, they're going to be automatically offered that graded benefit. So if there is someone that has a health condition that you think they may not qualify for fully underwritten or even the Simplified, you might want to look at that graded benefit product. But that is something we will automatically offer if we're not able to offer them Century or Simplified. So just to give you a little bit more information on the products themselves and make sure you really have those details down, we have the Century Plus product, which is by far our most popular product, the one that's used the most, just because there's so much flexibility in it. Issue ages will go up to age 60. We have 4 different occupation classes. So 4A is going to be more of your desk jobs, sales, insurance agents are included in there. Nurses who work in a doctor's office environment are going to be included in there, but it's more for the positions that include a lot of desk work, office work, very low risk. 1A is going to be the high risk, so that's going to be more of the manual laborers, roofers, contractors, stuff like that. Chiropractors will actually write those. We write them at a 1A. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of carriers that will not even take chiropractors anymore, but we'll take them at a 1A. 3A is going to be a lot of your medical professionals, so keep that in mind. Besides the nurses that work in a doctor's office, we're going to put pretty much all medical, dental, all of that at a 3A. Maximum issue limits. We can go up to $20,000 a month for that monthly benefit, which comes out to about $450,000 for an annual salary. So we can really write anywhere from blue collar all the way up to affluent. Now, where Assurity fits in best is in the kind of middle market, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit, but middle market is kind of assuming $150,000 and under for that annual salary. So we can still write those doctors, attorneys, all of that. Anyone under that 150, we can write up to 450, but where our pricing works best and where our product fits best is in that middle market. Benefit periods, we start at 1 year for this product, and we can go all the way up to age 67. And then elimination periods starts at 30, and then we'll go all the way up to 1 year. So this is a longer term product. Usually you'll see those short-term disability with a 0 or 7-day elimination period, and then a month or couple month benefit period. So this is for more of the long-term disability. It is guaranteed renewable, and then there is a ton of customization available via our riders. And I'll go into more of those riders here in just a minute and kind of point out some of the more popular ones that we see a lot. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I wanted to go into it a little more and give you a definition and then also an example, because I feel like that's the best way to kind of learn what this really means. But at Assurity, with our Century Plus product, we do have a 2-year true own-OC definition. So this is built into the policy. There also is a rider if you want to extend it past that 2 years, but the 2 years is built in already. So for the first 2 years after that elimination period is satisfied, if that disability keeps the insured from doing all the substantial and material duties of their own occupation, so the one that they are trained and educated to do, we will continue to pay that full benefit that they qualified for. And then after that, it'll go to any OC. So I like to use the example of an ER nurse for this. So you have an ER nurse. She's on her feet a lot. She's lifting patients, using her back, using her legs, all of that. She gets into a car accident and injures her back. So she's unable to stand for long periods of time. She can't lift patients, but she can check people into the ER where she's doing a lot more sitting and all of that. So because for the first 2 years after she is considered totally disabled, we will still pay her that full benefit based on the salary that she gave us when she applied, even though she's still working full-time checking people into the ER. So 2 years, and then after that it goes to any OC. So if she's still working full-time checking people in because she's unable to go back to her ER job, she will lose that benefit unless she has that own OC rider, which then she can extend it. We'll talk about that here soon when we go over the riders. But that is built in for the first 2 years, so that's a really nice benefit there. So the different riders that we have available, and I'll go over just a few of these because it would take me a while to talk about each one, but I'll go over the ones that we see used the most often. So the supplemental disability income rider, this is our Social Security offset rider. So if someone starts claiming a benefit from Social Security, we will still pay them their full benefit, but some of it might be coming from Social Security. The rest will come from Assurity. So they're always going to receive their full benefit no matter where the money is coming from. But it does, because it's taking some risk off of Assurity, it does usually lower their premium a little bit. Critical illness rider, we do have a standalone critical illness product. So if you know how that works at all, it works very similarly to the rider as well. There's just a few less covered conditions. But we have 3 different categories. We have heart attack and stroke, cancer, and then another category which includes organ transplants, severe burns, paralysis, all of that. If they were to be diagnosed with one of those covered illnesses, we will pay a lump sum benefit upon diagnosis of one of those covered illnesses. And that is a completely separate pool of money from the disability monthly benefit that they would be receiving. So it's an awesome, if they've been looking at the critical illness product at all or looking for, say, a cancer type policy, this is a great rider to just add on and keep it all on one policy, save a policy fee, all of that. The guaranteed insurability rider, that is typically added on for the younger to middle ages, usually, just in case they would switch jobs, or as they continue to make more and more money year after year, they can go back and raise that benefit amount without having to provide evidence of insurability. That own occupation rider we talked about, that'll take that 2-year built-in ONOC definition and extend it out to whatever benefit period they selected. So 5, 10, age 65, age 67. So automatic benefit increase rider is our COLA rider. Return of premium, you can receive up to 100% of those premiums you paid in at age 65, or a percentage of them if you let the policy lapse or if you cancel it early. So when you run an illustration on that, it'll actually give you a breakdown of what that'll look like and what you would receive in any year in case you would let it lapse, cancel it, or at age 65. That's about all of, it's not all of them. You can look into those a little bit more. They all are in our product guide, which is in AssureLink, our agent portal. So now we're going to kind of go into talking about small businesses or just businesses in general and business owners. It's a big market for us, and it is one of Assurity's sweet spots. So it's something we do really well in. And part of the reason is because we do have that business overhead expense policy. And so this is kind of the way to break it down and the way to start the conversation here. So a business owner obviously has double the expenses and double the things to think about when it comes to coming down with a disability. So they have to think about their family and their paycheck protection. They also have to think of their business payroll protection. So if they were to become disabled, both of those are at risk. So they need to be able to protect both of them, and we're able to do so with both our Century Plus or Simplified and our business overhead expense. So packaging those up together really helps them protect both their family and their business in case they were to become disabled. So going into that business overhead expense here, so this is a reimbursement product for business operating expenses related to disability. So if the business owner becomes disabled, they are able to get a monthly income or a monthly benefit based on the expenses that they turn in beforehand in the underwriting process. And it works like a reimbursement. So basically they're given an amount each month that we're able to reimburse them for. They'll come back and say they don't use the full amount that month. That amount that's left over will actually roll over to the next month. So they don't just lose it. It'll actually just keep rolling over. So if they have more expenses the next month, they'll have more than that monthly benefit they were given. So it's a really nice product because it's not a use it or lose it. We just keep rolling it over, and they're at some point able to use it. And those business operating expenses, obviously payroll is included in that, so they're able to still pay their employees. Any leases, rent, payments, utilities, anything like that is all covered. So we'll just have them turn in their Schedule C or a spreadsheet of their expenses during the underwriting process, and that's how we'll determine what amount we can give them. So issue ages 18 to 60. Eligibility, they have to be working full-time, so at least 30 hours a week as that business owner, and then 1 year in business as an owner with at least a net profit of $10,000 in the last year. So they have to be in business over a year. Keep that in mind. Can't be a brand new business owner. There are 3 occupation classes. We can take 4A, 3A, and 2A, so the 1A is excluded. The maximum issue limit is $20,000 a month. We will take it on a case-by-case basis, though. So if you have someone that may need more than that $20,000, send it our way, and we can take a look and send to reinsurance and all of that. Benefit periods are 1 or 2 years, and the elimination periods are listed there as well. And it is a guaranteed renewable product. There is an occupation class upgrade for business owners. So we'll talk about a little bit more in depth on the different upgrades and enhancements and stuff that we offer for business owners. So again, those covered expenses, employee salaries, wages, benefits, utilities, rent or mortgage, property taxes, office furniture and equipment, so any leases they have on those. So any defined items incurred by the business owner. And these expenses must be generally accepted as tax deductible overhead expenses. And they can write these premiums off in their taxes, which business owners appreciate. So keep that in mind as well when you're talking to these business owners about it. So the Simplified Disability Income Insurance. So this product is something that we offer with no medical exams, no financial verification, which coincides with the name Simplified Disability. And this is a product that I believe is really underused. And I'm saying that because we will pay a monthly benefit of up to $3,000 on this. And we did a little bit of research through the Bureau of Labor Statistics, LIMRA, a couple other different places, and we found that over 90% of the United States, their monthly expenses, including mortgage, utilities, insurance payments, usually come out to about $1,400 a month, so a little under $1,500 a month. So people need a lot less disability insurance than they think they do. So a lot of them can get away with using this Simplified product and not having to do a medical exam, not having to turn in any financial verification, and it's a 4-day guarantee on this product. So we guarantee that it is through underwriting and issued within 4 days. So it's a quick moving product. No one wants to take time to do that medical exam or send in their tax returns or anything like that. So you can get them what they need in order to cover those main business or those main expenses, those monthly expenses every month with this Simplified Disability. So keep that in mind when you are talking to your clients. Not everyone needs that fully underwritten product. So the issue ages, we go up to 59 on this product. It's 60 on the other. We have 2 occupation classes, 1 and 2. So the 1 is going to be the desk jobs this time, and the 2 is going to be the more manual labor. So it kind of flip-flops here. The benefit periods, we start at 6 months and then cover 1 and 2. Elimination periods start at 30 days. So if you're looking for more of a shorter term disability product, this would be the one that you want to use since we go down a little further. And it is guaranteed renewable to age 67. Okay, so we're going to move into our sales ideas. Opportunity, we're going to talk about dental hygienists. So this is a space that Assurity has a unique market in. It is a space that a lot of carriers actually won't typically take anymore for whatever reason, but we do take dental hygienists at a 3A on the Century Plus product. So keep that in mind when you are thinking through people to talk to. So Leslie is a 36-year-old dental hygienist. She earns $72,000 a year. So after taxes, she takes home $4,300 a month. She does have a group DI policy that pays 60% of her gross income, which is actually very industry standard. So they pay her $3,600 a month. And her group benefit is taxable, so her net benefit then would be $2,810 a month. So the solution then would be to get her a Century Plus disability insurance policy. So she purchases that policy that pays $800 a month, and that's to kind of fill the gap between the tax deductible portion of her group policy and what she really needs. And that's $29.83 per month. Or she's looking at a 90-day elimination 10-year. So that's what she's looking at with the Century Plus. And it's a tax-free monthly policy benefit, and it helps cover that gap. So it brings her to the $3,610, which is what 60% of her income would be, was roughly $3,600, like we talked about. So she's able to fill that gap between her group policy and the individual and still pay less than $30 a month just to get that benefit. So that is one way to overcome that objection of I already have it through work. And that's why it's very important to sit down and really ask questions and see how much they're receiving with that benefit, what the benefit looks like, is it tax-free, and all of that, because more than likely it is not. And that's going to cut down on that monthly benefit quite a bit. So Contractor, we see quite a few of these come through, so it's a very common occupation that we received. So Mike's a 35-year-old contractor, pretty young. He's a business owner and he has 3 employees. So his net personal income is right at $60,000 and his monthly business expenses are $15,000. So that gives you a little bit of background here on what we're working with. And we're most likely going to package this together since he needs both the personal and the payroll protection. So he has a $2,750 a month salary with for 3 employees, so that comes out to a little over $8,000 a month. He lists his office rent and his utilities, insurance, materials, vehicles. Again, it comes out to about $15,000, so that's kind of how they break it down there. So the solution for him, again, we're looking at both personal paycheck protection for him as well as payroll protection to protect both the personal and the business side. So he qualifies for a 3A occupation class with the business owner upgrade. So that's what I wanted to touch on too. So this is the perfect time to bring it in because he qualifies for a 15% income increase as well. So with business owners, if they have been in business for more than a year, have a net income of more than $10,000 a year, they can qualify for a occupation class upgrade and also a income enhancement upgrade as well. So if they meet those qualifications, then he can bump himself up from a 2A, which is a typical contractor's occupation class, up to a 3A, which will obviously lower his premiums. And if he also meets those qualifications, he'll get a 15% income increase, which will increase the amount of benefit that we're able to give him a month. So both his paycheck and payroll will be protected. So for the Century Plus, we're looking at just over a $3,500 monthly benefit, and for only $40 a month, so slightly over $40 a month. We put $1,790 in the base policy, $1,800 in the optional SDIR, which again is that Social Security offset. So basically, we're saying that if Social Security kicks in, say they kick in and they pay the full $1,800. Social Security will pay him $1,800. Once it starts kicking in, we'll pay the remaining $1,790. Until that kicks in, because we all know that the government can take a little while to start paying those benefits, we'll pay that full $3,590 to him. So no matter what, he's going to get that full $3,590. We included the catastrophic disability rider. So if he's considered catastrophically disabled, we will pay him during that elimination period. So we are looking at, for the BOE, we're looking at a $15,000 benefit per month to cover all of his business expenses at a 90-day elimination, 1-year benefit period, $105.16. So just over $105 for that business coverage. And again, he's able to write off those premiums on his taxes. So to get both the paycheck and the payroll protection for his business, he's only spending $145.44. So pretty affordable, especially when you think about the disaster it would be if he were to become disabled on both the personal and the business side. There would be a lot of people affected by that. So when you think Assurity DI, these are the target markets that we like to typically talk about, typically reach out to. We talked about middle income, and when we say middle income, we're thinking $150,000 a year and under. So that's not just a blue collar business, that is blue collar and even into the doctors, dentists, attorneys. We're looking at engineers, we're looking at computer programmers. It really is a huge market that we're able to cover, and we're even able to cover up to that $450,000 mark. So we can cover those high income earners as well. Small businesses, we do really well in that space because of our BOE product. And then keep in mind too that we do have a multi-life discount as well. So if you're able to get 3 or more policies in one group, we will take off 15% of the premiums on the personal side, 5% on the BOE. So if you have a business owner that purchases a personal policy for himself, BOE for his business, and then he has 2 employees under him and he gets them each a policy as well, they'll receive that discount as long as there's 3 or more lives within that group. Also, the pink collar space is another space that we do well in. And when we say pink collar, we're meaning women. So in the women's space, it's a generally untouched market for whatever reason. People just tend to reach out more to males. So the nursing opportunity is huge. The dental hygienist opportunity is huge. Office assistants, and all of that. So keep that in mind. Anyone in a medical position, event planners, different, teachers is another big one as well. Those are generally untouched markets. So just kind of build that list in your mind as you're thinking of people to talk to. This pink collar opportunity is huge. So other common objections, we talked about having a group policy through work already. That's the big one. Another one is them just saying, we'll survive on my spouse's income. It's fine. There's 2 of us. It's hard to kind of say, at the time, we'll be fine. But when it comes down to it, and you really take into account all of your monthly expenses, are you really going to be able to be fine on just that spouse's income? So that's why it's important to really sit down with them and map it out. We'll use our savings. People say that now, but do they really want to drain their savings when the time comes? It's too expensive. That's one we see quite often. And because there are so many different riders, there's so many different elimination and benefit periods. There's the simplified product. There's the fully underwritten product. We can really make anything work for the customer. We can build it to make it stay within their budget. So again, go to Art Jetter, come to us at Assurity, and we can really help you build that plan to fit in the customer's budget. I can rely on Social Security disability. This is one, if people aren't really familiar with how that works, it is typically a very long process and it's not guaranteed. So typically people are denied the first 1 or 2 times that they apply for it, or otherwise it can take anywhere from 6 months to a year to start receiving those benefits. So you really want to make sure that they know that it's not a very reliable source. While it is there and a lot of people do take advantage of it, it's not always reliable. Accidents and illnesses won't happen to me. Again, I brought this up at the beginning. A lot of people think, I'm young, I'm healthy, it'll never happen to me. But there are so many different ways to become, by definition, disabled. There's mental nervous issues, there's different illnesses, there are car accidents. Anything can happen to anyone at any time, regardless of your age, regardless of your health. So we really want to make sure that they realize that this isn't just you getting hurt on the job or something like that, that this will cover a multitude of different disabilities, sicknesses, illnesses, injuries, all of that. So some tools to help you boost your DI sales. So if you go to assuretydi.com, that's actually where all of our DI marketing material is at, all of our sales ideas. We have different occupations that you can click on and get different sales ideas and sales tips there. There's webinars. There are other videos to do with underwriting, so you can learn a little bit more about our disability underwriting as well. There's different flyers on there. There's one specific to how to overcome objections to DI, what not to say when you're selling income protection. And then we also do have a brand new DI quoter. So if you go to diquoter.assurity.com, it's actually a quick and easy little website that will pull up on your tablet or your mobile phone if you're connected to the internet, and you can run a quick quote for your client right then and there and email it straight to them. So that's an easy way to run a quote where you don't have to log into our agent portal to do so, or call anyone and ask them to run it for you. So diquoter.assurity.com. All right, so now we're at the point in the presentation where I'll take some questions. Again, you guys are all muted, so go ahead and chat them in that chat box there through GoToWebinar. and either Kristen or I will get those and we'll answer them here on the webinar. Otherwise, we'll take them after too. Feel free to call in, email in, and whatnot, and we can answer any questions you got.
Great. Thank you, Morgan, and truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to go over all of your DI products and what you have to offer. Tons of opportunities, and some things that, as you were speaking, that I thought of as well is maybe you have a couple and you have only a sole income earner in that house. What would happen to that person if they would be disabled, and what would happen to that family? Unfortunately, divorce is at a higher rate these days, and there's a lot of single moms out there that need this type of protection. And so when you're looking at that pink market, also look at those single moms as well. As Americans, we are spenders. We do not save for a rainy day. So having something like this in place to protect you if something would unfortunately happen is definitely key. And as an agent, I know just bringing up that conversation, your client would be forever grateful to you for talking with them, getting them signed up for DI coverage. If something would happen, you'd rather have that phone call of them saying, thank you so much for, spending the time and working with me and getting me a policy with Assurity. I just became disabled, and now I'm able to still keep my home. I'm still able to, live my life and continue on. That's a much better call to receive than someone saying, hey, I just became disabled, and they don't have that coverage, and you could have talked to them about that. So just keep that in mind. You don't personally want to ever go through that, or have someone that you work with go through as well. We are recording this call, so if you want to have the presentation sent over to you, we would be happy to do that for you. Here at Art Jetter & Company, we can run illustrations for you. So we do have a DI proposal sheet that we can send over to you, and we do have an in-house underwriter that can also review any health conditions, medications that individual might be taking. So definitely, use this as a resource. We can help with application processing and status as well. So feel free to give us a call. We are a full-fledged insurance marketing company. So we have been in service since 1979, and we really provide a massive portfolio of products to offer to your clients, not only disability income, and if you happen to be on the life calls in the past weeks, the life portfolios as well. So definitely look to us, and we can definitely help you out. We are really a one-stop shop for all of your needs. Now, and maybe I'll steal this thunder, but Morgan, do you want to just touch briefly in regards to the new CI product that's coming?
Yeah, you bet. So like Kristen said, we do have a new critical illness product coming. I mentioned the rider very briefly, but that's kind of how our standalone product works right now. Right now we have a both standalone and a fully underwritten product. So coming on May 1st, that is the date right now for the launch date. And it's looking pretty good to stay on schedule. We're actually going to be combining the two into a brand new critical illness product. Right now we have the 3-category approach that you might be used to, but it'll actually be, we'll get rid of the categories. We'll have a couple more included covered illnesses, and it won't be a one and done product. It'll actually be a product that stays open unless you were to somehow get all 11 or 12 or however many there are of the covered illnesses. So a lot of different changes coming to that, and we're going to be hosting at least a webinar or two before then for you guys, so make sure to look out for that and sign up for it, and we'll go over all the details as we kind of know more. But look for that here coming in May. It's going to be a really, really awesome product. Lots of good changes coming.
Good. There is a question that came through. Is the 100% ROP, the return of premium rider, only on the fully underwritten products?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So just on that, the Century Plus, the fully underwritten disability income, offers that 100% return of premium. So.
Yep.
Okay. So definitely, again, if you have a question here after our call, later today, next week, whenever, definitely reach out to us at Art Jetter & Company. Our number is 1-800-228-0008, and just ask for a DI specialist. You can also send us an email at any point in time. It's at di@jetter.com. Well, thank you so much, Morgan, and appreciate everybody being on the call today.
You bet. Thank you. Have a great day,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thanks. Bye-bye.